Hello guys, my name is The Gamer and this is the next episode of What Remains of Edith Finch. Let's climb up to the
My mom
next
moved up to the
episode.
loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
I still don't believe that this is a family curse. I don't believe that, but this comb is so huge. Holy shit! It would be very hard to have some private space. Think about if you would like to be a.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English.
Think about being, for example, YouTuber or vlogger while your little brother sleeps. That would be hard.
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
But that's... Did I hear footsteps? Okay, let's
Louis
go
was
out.
born a year later.
Oh, the music.
When my dad died,
posters.
I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal. But it didn't last.
Yeah, I wanted to test where is.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
Okay. So that's the beginning. That's the beginning of the story. Is it gonna fall?
I think Edie was happy to finally have another painter in the family. Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Cool story. But that's
I was
the
4
whole
when
story.
Milton disappeared.
Okay, so it started with him disappearing. And that's... It reminds me of Layers of Fear. Did he find a way to another fucking dimension?
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
So, if he comes back, then he won't be able to go home.
Whatever Milton had found in the house,
No,
Mom
of
didn't
course
want it getting
joking.
out.
I think you have the last story to tell.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
Cannery, oh. For a person like this, for an artist, person in a job in cannery? Well, who am I to judge? Oh!
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Holy moly. But freaking Nintendo. Yeah, Nintendo. Computer. And marijuana.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads.
Holy crap, we are playing 2 games in the same time.
And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis.
No, it wasn't Lewis.
So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend.
Schizophrenia?
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger.
Yes, it's getting bigger and bigger.
He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor, and he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him.
It's bigger.
He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville.
His imagination becomes his whole world. Because the normal world became so
St. Louis.
depressing. As he's using his
He started
imagination.
drifting away from our reality.
Yeah, and I understand him. 100%.
Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on.
It was more like she was arguing, talking shit to him.
In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a
Let's go with Prince.
beautiful prince. The prince was on his own quest for
We can make our
Sinister serpents.
own history. So cool.
He followed the sound of his
Harp. Much better.
silver harp. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound.
You can't even see anything, you just
He knew
gave.
the world was all in his imagination.
But does it matter?
But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Louis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace.
It became his reality.
My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Oh. Not depressing at all after you dream about being a king.
He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
It's
He
him.
began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
Guys, that means that he died. He killed himself. And I understand why. I actually understand why.
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him.
That's the best game that shows death. Like this. Wow.
His prince waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do.
And that's when it will chop his head, right?
Bend down his head. And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
I also wish I could have met him. So fucking... That's the saddest story. Not even as sad as Gregory, in my opinion. What those people, his own mom, did to his child. And no one cared because, well, he's working properly. No one even wanted to talk to him. So if no one wants to talk, to you, you are creating your own world. Because what else can you do while your whole day is fucking cutting fish's head? I'm sorry for you, bro. It's only a game, but think that this is a real person. It just breaks hearts. And there are persons who has the same, okay, maybe not the same, but who are alive outside, but there are so much dead inside. And I don't mean this hilarious meme, I am dead inside. I mean that they are not actually living. In my opinion, Lucas, her brother, he lived the way he could. He lived. He felt that he must do that because he was addicted to drugs. So he never said anything. Didn't say that he hates the job. You made your daughter's life worse. She cried because of his father. If child cries because of its parent, then it's like the worst parent in the world.
Mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left. My mom ended up leaving everything behind. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
It's her room now. Now we will see her story.
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
The last story.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
Candles and tons of books.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. we'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground.
Grandmother have some turbo. Spring into traffic. She walks so slow sometimes. And you go wrong way and nothing happens. It irritates. She doesn't want to go there. Where then? Where? How cool is that we have YouTube? always helps. In time of need.
There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. For a while, I wandered. I started seeing things.
Are you gonna say great one?
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go. I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is.
That's true, what she says.
This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
So is that based story of someone's? Is Edith true character? All that she talks about is real, was real, that family. Maybe not the same names. But the same story. The child that drowned. The boy who died in the storm. The guy that killed himself. I really appreciate that they showed photos of them. It's a great game. This game is great. And if you somehow didn't watch any episode and you just randomly clicked on this minute, don't watch this Let's Play. I know that any YouTuber should say that, but don't watch it. Play the game. Play the game alone. Dreadful stories made the best scream in her whole life. I'm gonna let that pass. I want to see if there is anything, some Easter egg on the end. But I like the most the story of Edith's brother. Those fishes, and he was the king, and his imagination. He disconnected from the real world and built his own world, and I can understand that in some way, because the world that we can create in our heads is so much better. We are the we are the kings. Not even kings, we are gods there in our heads, and that's a much better place. And when so much bad things happens around you, I think that your own head is the only place where no one will actually hurt you. 5 years. The end. To replay a story is now available. Select edit to play from the beginning. Oh yeah, that's the beginning. Oh yeah, that's the story number 1. Then Walter, Calvin or Gregory. I think Gregory is better because there is also like a little bit of gameplay. Calvin, Gus, and then everyone else actually. Then I don't care. And Edie, her story. All those stories are amazing, and it's really worth to play this game. That's the story of, and that's the end of this story. That's the end of this game. It's the last episode. Well, guys, it's always hard to end one thing while you play a game, and you play just making episodes, and then you must say there will never come out a new episode of the game. We finished it. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, and a comment, and see you in the next episode of some other game. Thank you and bye.